Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. We'll wait a few moments for other people to join the webinar and then we'll get started. Good morning and good afternoon. Thanks for waiting patiently. We're just going to wait another 30, 60 seconds for a few more people to join our fireside chat today, and we'll get started. Okay, I think we'll get started. So good morning again, good afternoon and good evening. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us on this webinar today. My name is Lawrence Rankin. I'm the head of product at Worksoft and your moderator for today's fireside chat with Tony Sumpster, the CEO of Worksoft, and Badri Nator, the founder and CEO of Eureka. Over the next 30 to 45 minutes, Tony and Badri will share the rationale for the acquisition of Eureka and what bringing together two great teams means for you and your business. More specifically, Tony will explain how Worksoft has been on a transformative journey for the last 2 to 3 years and walk you through how Worksoft has grown from being the leader in test automation to today by providing organizations with the most complete intelligent automation platform in the market. In addition, Badri will share the journey Eureka has been on, including the SaaS automation platform for digital commerce, including the web, mobile, and performance testing capabilities, and why joining Worksoft family was the right decision for the business and for the Eureka customer base. We'll have plenty of time for Q&A, but please do use the chat function that's available on the webinar. If we don't get to your questions today, we'll reach out afterwards and make sure that we give you some answers. So to get us started, I'll hand over to Tony and Badri.
Okay, thank you very much, Lawrence, and it is fantastic to be with you today. One of the things that I think we've seen over the past 2 or 3 years is Worksoft has been on an incredible journey, and it's been a real transformation. You've gone from this test automation expert who has been often called the gold standard for test automation, particularly in the SAP, Oracle, and packaged application space. The last 2 or 3 years have been really quite a step change for us, for our customers and our partners. But it's good to remind ourselves where we came from, because people say, hey, I see all this new stuff. How did that happen? Well, it happened because our customers and our partners gave us the clues that we needed to do and build the roadmap and give us the support to do that. But we started out, with a product called Certify, and we did a lot of great things. About 20 years learning how to do the most complex process work on the planet. And our customers reflect that complexity and the depth of knowledge that was required to build this incredible, robust automation platform. But as you go down the road, of course, you learn things, and you have lots of lessons learned. You occasionally make a mistake or two, but you learn a lot. One of the things that came along next after we built out automation was really, how can we get better at test automation? And where the driver was here was about, how can we understand how humans interact with process so that we get better at understanding what to test, how to test it, what were the steps that needed to be tested. And along the way came things like really incredible documentation. As we learned how to do these things, we came out with compliance documentation, training, and the basic core steps that allowed us to get really good at prioritizing what was important when we were doing test. The next thing that came along was, people said to us, your automation is so robust, we want to use it in production. So can we reuse the assets that we built for test automation in a production context? And in fact, what we actually found was our customers were already doing it, and we needed to make sure that we were supporting them in that journey that they were already on. And you know, there is nothing better than having your customers leading the way and showing you what the possible is. And so we came out with this capability that allowed us to have production automation using the same assets that we use for tests, so expanding out our value to our customers. So here we are, great automation platform, reusable assets being used for both test and production, with all of the things that go around that. So security, immutability, compliance, making sure that roles were clearly defined, workflows were clearly defined. So we ended up with this platform that was really starting to burgeon into something new. And what happened next was process intelligence. So we know, we already understand how the human being interacts with a process, but there's this new category of understanding coming about through process mining. And what we realized, that if you could put the human side and the process mining side together, the machine side, if you will, you ended up with this very rich source of data that allowed us to represent process flows, whether it be order to cash or record to report or procure to pay or any of the others, you know, of the major types, that were really being supported by many applications. And so our knowledge around end-to-end testing, our knowledge around complexity, led us to create something that we call process intelligence. And process intelligence brings all of these data sources together. It allows us to represent them in things like process maps that show the many variations that you have. And if you've not been through that process, it's a fun exercise to go through, because what you think is a single way of doing something, and start with your sales order process, because that's always fun, you will find many variants in the way that you do things, and that's often a surprise for many of our customers. So then you end up with this new concept in the market, a single platform. We call it the connective automation platform, that allows us to start from understanding your process and taking in lots of forms of data, whether it be that process capturing, you can call it task mining on steroids, if you will. It's a very deep capability. Working with process mining vendors such as Celonis, Signavio, Appian, to name but three, you know, good partners. Building all this together, it comes with recommendations as to what you should try first, where the value is, whether dollars can be saved, where time can be saved, and does it by things like department and all those things that then leads you into building fantastic automation. This is the journey that we've been on. And if you're a customer of the last 20 years, this is a marked change. If you're coming new to us, what you're seeing is 20 years worth of evolution of listening, of understanding, of experimentation, of innovation, and deep creativity to build something that we think is outstanding and pretty unique in the market at this point in time. So this is the connective automation platform. You can see at the bottom of this slide the descriptions of what they are. Now, that is the journey that Worksoft to be on. But of course, we are absolutely listening to the market and what is changing in the market. And digitization is one of the key components of how organizations are changing business models, the commercial models, the way that they interact with customers, the formats by which they do that. And as we were having these conversations strategically, it became clear to us that we could enhance the way and the value that we brought to our customers because they were tackling new things as they got better at customer experience and about driving innovation. And so I met Badri. And Badri, this, the CEO of Eureka, doing something that we felt philosophically was in the right space for us. That they were thinking about the customer in the right way, doing some amazing things. And so we got talking about what happens if we put these two organizations together. What is the value that comes forward here? Now, rather than take Badri's great words, we're going to hear from Badri now. He's going to take us through what his thinking was around the problem set that he was solving for. And let's see Badri and hear from him now.
Thank you, Tony. It's great to be talking to all of you today. And as Tony mentioned, Eureka was really focused on solving the problem of testing digital applications. So digital commerce puts the user experience front and center like no other enterprise application. So user experience is critical in digital commerce. A poor user experience has a direct and measurable impact on revenue. And anytime revenue is impacted, it gets the attention of the executive. So ensuring this great user experience requires testing. And that's why we built Eureka as a platform that's purpose-built for testing digital commerce applications. So if you think about digital commerce, typically your mind goes to web storefronts. Of course, we can test web storefronts. But as you may have well imagined, there's a shift towards mobile commerce. And in fact, last year, more than 57% of digital commerce was transacted on mobile devices. And headless commerce is actually starting to make inroads in a big way. With headless commerce, you really are interacting with APIs. So what does this mean? So it's no longer web frontends that you're working with. You're working with mobile devices, where you're looking at mobile apps, or working on mobile web storefronts. You're also dealing with APIs to transact your e-commerce business. So in testing all of these now requires a solution that can test web applications, mobile apps, and APIs. And so we made sure that Eureka could do all of these. And then, unlike a lot of enterprise applications where you have control over your user base, with digital commerce, you don't know what browser or device your user is going to be accessing your applications with. So you have to make sure that your apps work really well with all these browsers and devices. So we built support for browser compatibility testing. And with Eureka, you can do all of this in a single application. It's not multiple apps that have been cobbled together for web testing, mobile testing, and API testing. It's one single platform where you can do end-to-end testing across all these interfaces, because an e-commerce workflow, to be able to test an e-commerce storefront well, you need to be able to do end-to-end, simulate end-to-end workflows, automate end-to-end workflows across all these different interfaces. And that's what you can do with Eureka. Then as we were looking at improving user experience for digital commerce, one of the things that really became important is it's good to test functionality, it's good to test compatibility, but the performance of the site is a critical factor in user experience. In fact, it's well proven that within 3 seconds, about 57% of the users leave the site. So if you go beyond 3 seconds, every second that you spend in loading your page, you lose 7% of your audience. And that, again, is significant revenue lost. So companies pay attention to how what the performance of their e-commerce applications are, and they want to be able to measure it. And that's where we built the support for performance testing. Again, we did this on the same platform. So the beauty of the Eureka platform is that you don't need to, again, build these automation for functional testing, compatibility testing, or mobile apps, or performance testing on different platforms. So you don't have to build these tests over and over again. You can use those same tests to work across all different types of testing. So we built a unified platform that allows you to test functionality, performance, compatibility, all of which are critically important for digital commerce. And then we actually built it in such a way that you can build this automation without doing any heavy lifting in terms of programming. It's smart AI-based automation with self-healing tests. And also we made this automation predictive, in the sense you can actually figure out why your tests failed with Eureka. Our autonomous troubleshooting capabilities use machine learning to significantly reduce the time it takes to troubleshoot your tests, which allows our customers to release changes faster to their e-commerce site. So one final thing which I'll touch upon before we move on is if you think about e-commerce, what comes to mind is more than the changes to workflows, it is content and data. And data is critical in the way we test e-commerce or digital commerce applications. And Eureka built a very powerful data-driven testing capabilities where you can easily test variations in test data, simulate test data, and do it in a very secure fashion. Finally, we built all of this in a digitally native format from the ground up on the cloud in a very scalable and secure manner. So all of this really resonated with our customers, and you can see that we have really made good progress on building automation or actually delivering testing for digital commerce for some of the leading brands in the world.
Badri, thanks for that. I mean, this is incredibly cool stuff. So, just continuing on that theme, and maybe I can turn to Tony and ask you, Tony. I mean, what do you see as the real value to existing and potential customers of that now combined Worksoft and Eureka portfolio of capabilities?
Yeah, I think I touched on it earlier, but Worksoft's deep expertise around packaged applications, and I came up with this simple phrase, and I'm going to use it, and Liz, who runs marketing for us, is going to tell me off afterwards. But the way I thought about this very simplistically is Worksoft is incredibly strong at back-end applications. So think of it as the big iron, if you will, enterprise resource planning, supply chain, logistics, manufacturing, finance, all that. That's where we cut our teeth. That's where a lot of the complexity around a lot of organizations, was previously. But the reality is that the world is changing, and we could see increasing, world views changing about the way that you interacted. COVID, the pandemic, if you will, accelerated a lot of those things, where our ability to be able to interact with a service, whatever, was very much changed. And as you look at that and you say, okay, Worksoft strategically, you built this great connective automation platform. It goes a long way to understanding process understanding and then building automation and all those things. And that's all very cool. But how can you help us in our journey towards digitization and the way that we interact with our customers? And it's not just the consumer. It is our customers are often other businesses, or perhaps we're a third party, or perhaps we're doing something through a marketplace. And all of that became very obvious as we were thinking about the changes that were happening to organizations, the way they were thinking about designing those organizations, the pressures that were coming on to increase revenues, increase margins, be more efficient in the way of the end-to-end test. And we used to say we do these things around, say, SAP or Oracle, but the fact of it is that an end-to-end process might have 40 or 50 applications. And as you end that front end, and that's the back end to front end thing again, what you see is this whole new range of applications, which could be as simple as Hybris or Oracle CX Commerce, or it could be Shopify, Salesforce Commerce, all those sorts of things. And some of these applications, we thought, although we clearly already tested them, that more deep domain expertise was required, because you need to be an expert. And around things like fulfillment and test, around the way that we do things, was going to be super important. And Badri will talk about SKUs, and he'll talk about the way that price checking and all that sort of stuff. But that's what we saw as, we felt that was an area that we could add increasingly value. The organizational design was changing, the way that customers and businesses were changing the way that they interacted. Like I said, the pandemic really helped there in terms of hardening our thinking. And so if you look at what's going on here, Worksoft, end-to-end testing, complex processes, the largest scale in the world, all of those things. And then we met Eureka. They feel, as we were talking around the things we thought were important, and Badri and team were coming up with the answers that we were thinking about. But more importantly, they were asking questions we weren't asking. And that, at which point we knew that something had to be done about combining these organizations together, because a lot of our customers are going down this path. And I think, Badri, it'd be good for you to talk about. I think one of the ways that really sort of sparked it for me was some of the work that you do around core, that merchandising work. That how do you make sure that your prices are right, that your fulfillment is, I've got 3 different systems. I sell in one, I do returns in another, I do fulfill. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on that. And I think this slide, really what we're trying to do here is make sure that everyone understands that this shift to digital commerce, it's a very real thing for lots and lots of our customers. And we think that by combining our 2 very deep domain expertise, we're providing something that's pretty unique in the market. So, Badri, take it away, your thoughts.
Yeah, I completely agree there, Tony. What we see with digital commerce, right? As I talked about earlier, we focused on testing the storefront, digital commerce, whether the storefront is on the web or mobile or through APIs. But then we really realized that a digital commerce transaction doesn't stop at the storefront. These storefronts are connected to backend applications, to merchandising systems, to PIM systems, to order processing systems, to ERPs, to supply chain logistics systems. And a lot of these were in technologies that we didn't have a good, good story to test with. And when we met Worksoft, we saw the real strength that they brought in testing these backend applications. And it was just a logical fit where we saw that we could actually provide that end-to-end testing capability to our customers, going from that front-end digital experience to back-end existing systems. And that allows them to test an end-to-end journey, whether it's order to cash or procure to pay, any of the workflows, and test them really well. A couple of other things that also come into play here, as Tony talked about the move towards digitalization, and this has really been accelerated during COVID. Companies are moving a lot of these backend systems to the cloud. So we are seeing customers move supply chain management systems to cloud, say moving to Oracle SCM or moving to Oracle Warehouse Management Cloud. And we support that process very well with Eureka and with Worksoft. So we provide the ability to test these applications throughout this digital transformation journey for our customers. Tony also talked about test data. So one of the things, if you typically think about when do you test, if you ask somebody when do you test? The answer is going to be, oh, when I make a change to the code, when I push a release, I'm going to test. True. When you make a code change, you test. But if you think about it, what you're really testing is change. And that change does not have to be only code change. It could be any type of change. And in digital commerce, that change very frequently is more than just code change. It's content change, it's data change, it's configuration rules change, pricing rules change, promotions, a variety of things that are changing at a much faster pace. You may do code changes once in 2 weeks or once a month, but price change and content change happens daily or a lot of times multiple times a day. And any problems with these, if these changes are not reflected correctly, it adversely impact user experience. And we focused on testing these type of changes by building one of the most robust data-driven testing support today in the marketplace. So we focus on being able to test for digital commerce sites, doing price checks, doing testing for any currency, multiple languages, testing content changes, all of that very easily with our powerful data-driven testing capability. To you, Tony.
Badri, thank you. Yeah, thanks for that. So let's just take another look at the combined portfolio, because I think having had Tony and Badri just walk us through the coming together of these two organizations, the capabilities of these two organizations, I think it's worthwhile just take another look at the combined portfolio. So taking from the back end to the front end to the back end, the most complete intelligent automation platform in the market today. I think a couple of the questions that have come in so far. The first one is, I'm an existing customer. How can I learn more about these combined capabilities?
It's a great question. So we're going to be holding a series of webinars. We'll kick them off after the summer. I think everyone's had a tough couple of years. They're going to take some time out over July and August. I'm speaking from London right now, and certainly the European teams that I'm meeting over here are sort of July and August are definitely a little bit quieter over here, and I think probably true in the rest of the world as well. So we'll do some webinars that will focus on individual components, and you'll see us get, I think from a Worksoft perspective, what you'll see is deeper domain expertise around certain things, bringing out Eureka's value. We'll concentrate on getting that done. You can of course reach out to your regional sales director or customer success team, and they will also be able to help you. And those teams are going through enablement to be able to answer those questions. And so I think that's the right way to think about that. And then we have a set of shows coming up. I think they're in the back end of July, and when's Vienna? Okay, so we got Las Vegas in July, and then Vienna as well, which is coming up later in the year as well. We're hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be all able to get together and share a coffee together and learn more about what each of us are trying to do. So those are the sorts of things that I think are the best way of doing that. But any questions that you have around the combined offering, or you're a customer and you really like what the Eureka team is doing, and hopefully you heard from Badri there is that deep domain expertise, that the areas around digital commerce, we think that's actually a real value add to our customers, and the feedback so far I think it's been 4 or 5 weeks that the two companies have been together has been quite exemplary. Just in this was a good idea, and our customers are saying it's a good idea, and asking for more things that they have coming up.
Thanks. I guess one of the other questions that that has come up is we talk about platform, and there's a lot of noise in the market about the value and benefits of bringing a platform capability together for intelligent automation, discovering processes, using that information to feed automation, and reusing it in other parts to enable people to move into higher value work, because we understand that obviously as part of a platform capability, one of the areas that people say, okay, how can I save, how can I reuse and minimize risk? Because there's never been a more important time to automate as much as possible. Do you have any points of view on that, Tony?
So I think in my conversations that I'm having with various leaders of organizations, that the word automation is no longer something that is an IT subject. It is something that that is discussed in the boardroom. It has to do with the way that we look to hire people. Hiring is incredibly difficult right now. Talent is at a premium. It's both from a cost perspective, but just finding the right people with the right talent is very difficult. And so what you're seeing this sort of relentless push to automate. And certainly in some of our customers, what we're seeing is not only this digitization, and we talk about digital commerce from a Eureka perspective, but we're also seeing the drive for outstanding customer experience, innovation, creativity, rather than being paid lip service. Let's really drive percentage of the organization has to look at automation projects. Now, I had another conversation with a customer just yesterday, and we were talking around test, and the connected automation platform that we built is not just around test, because understanding is the first place you should start. Because if you understand a thing, you can do better things with it, whether it be testing, or whether it be compliance documentation, or training documentation, or whether it be RPA type stuff. I mean, that's all there. But they're driving very much more towards take 10% of each of a particular division, organization, functional area, and drive automation for that. And really, in the last 18 months, we've started to see that become more and more relevant in more and more customers. And it's not just about cost. And in fact, if I would say, for most things, up until macroeconomic conditions became a little more tight in the last sort of 6 months or so, anytime before that, it was always around, how do we get more competitive? How do we drive a new experience for our customers? How do we get the hands of our product or service in the hands of more people? And automation being driven to do that, because you can't do it with people, because you can't find the people to do it. So you have to find another way of doing that. And so, working with our partners, and we are fortunate to have some of the best partners in the world who are working with us and our customers to be able to deliver great transformations into things. You're starting to see very different organizations start to appear by automation, thinking about automation, thinking about the way things that work. And so there's just an amazing shift in the market. Very exciting. I think as we think about Worksoft, if I could think about things that if I was, I was asked the question yesterday, in fact, where do I start? And the answer is you can start anywhere in the platform that we have. You're starting from a fresh. The first thing I would really encourage you to do is understand your processes, because in not every situation, but it's a very small number percentage people who really understand their processes, and then when they do the the technology work, if you will, the capturing those processes, doing process mining, the number of times we have that, oh my goodness, I had no idea that my process would look like this. I thought they were slimline and perfect, and suddenly you've got 1,000 variations in your sales order process. It's just a fantastic conversation. It also brings business and IT together to have really rich conversations about how they solve certain things. I think that's probably enough for me for now. It'd be great to hear from Badri. Any questions from Badri?
Yeah, I mean, Badri, a couple of questions actually. The first one I probably want to touch on is from a a market and customer perspective. If you think about the digital commerce, the e-commerce space right now, customers are demanding more, and they expect it right now. Checking the changing in prices because everybody's competing. Competition being relentless, particularly even from non-traditional competitors. How are your customers coming asking, have asked Eureka to help them navigate that volatile and dynamic space?
Yeah, so when you think about digital commerce, you're right in that there is, change is relentless, and being able to react to it very quickly is a competitive advantage. And being able to do this, it's important that you react quickly, but if you cannot react accurately, if your changes are not accurate, then you really have a problem. You're really accelerating problems. So that's where our customers have turned to Eureka to make sure that the changes that they push out are are accurate and are error-free. So I'll take a good example. So we have a large global retail brand in it's an apparel brand that has tens of thousands of SKUs in their product catalog, and they make changes to probably about 10 or 15,000 SKUs a couple of times a week. And these changes could be prices, availability, new sizes of clothes, etc. And this information is made in their, say, merchandising system in the back end, right? And that information gets pushed to their storefronts in multiple countries, 20 different countries across half a dozen different languages and half a dozen different currencies. And making sure that this information is correct in every one of them is impossible to do manually, right? And any mistakes, any errors in this cause revenue. And so they want to make sure that this can be done correctly and in a timely manner. And that's where they use Eureka, where Eureka is able to use our data-driven testing to go through the simple process of looking up a product and verifying a price, verifying some content information, and verifying availability. But we are able to do this at scale and able to do it for tens of thousands of SKUs in a matter of minutes or a matter of an hour or so, which really helps our customer make sure that the information that they're putting out there, the changes that they're pushing out to their storefront are accurate and are being done in a timely manner. So Tony talked about the value that automation brings to the boardroom that's being discussed in the boardroom, brings to organizations. What we have seen is automation is not looked at just as something that reduces cost, but it's more about something that helps you speed up your process. I mean, if you think about it, the only finite resource is time, and automation really helps you save this time. And time to market is a critical competitive advantage for our customers, and they try to get that as anytime they can. So automation and post production. So it's not just testing your e-commerce application, but as you operate your e-commerce application on a day in, day out basis, being able to operate that efficiently and accurately is something that Eureka helps our customers do.
Badri, thank you. That's great. And I think, obviously, based on the description you've just sort of shared around the critical nature of getting it right, not just about the testing of code change, but also the content. Get a price wrong, and you sell out, but you may have got the price severely wrong. One of the questions that popped up is, how do we get a demo? How do people get a demo of the Eureka capability right now?
So as Tony said, we will be doing webinars and demos of the platform in the coming weeks and months. But the best way to get a demo is to reach out to your regional sales director, or reach out to the Eureka. You can get to the Eureka site or the Worksoft site and request a demo.
Okay, great. Well, thanks. Are there any other questions that we've got coming in? That there's one question around Celonis. So from a yeah, interesting to see Celonis on our capability slides. I mean, I think certainly from a product's perspective, we see the Worksoft heritage was around test automation. The market leader in this space. It was those customers that that came to us that said, help us discover our processes even better and use that for automation. We recognize that there's more than one source of data for process information. Tony talked about capturing your process, the human interaction to capture those processes. When it came to process mining, one of the things that we wanted to do was to make sure that customers who'd already acquired Celonis or Appian or other process mining solutions could get the most out of that investment they'd already made. So it was a decision that the executive team at Worksoft made. And I'll get Tony to talk a little bit about the rationale for process mining being existing.
And if we go back to the connected automation platform, what we've been trying to do here is make it as easy as we can for customers to engage with their innovation journey, their automation journey, call it what you will, is right for your organization. And we recognize that we're at a point where the promise of process improvement is really quite viable. But what we also saw was that there was no one place to go that was going to answer these questions. So what we wanted to do was build out an ecosystem that was highly supportive of all these new ways of thinking about things. And you see, whether it be Celonis or Signavio or Appian, just to name but three in that space, we recognized that there was some great work that had already been done, and Worksoft itself just didn't need to spend its finite resources to do that, because these guys were already doing a great job. And so what we've done is built integrations, particularly with Celonis and Appian, and working on some work with Signavio right now, to be able to bring that data in. And if you've not been around process mining, it's a great way of getting that machine-to-machine transaction data. And if you combine that with that human element about how things are happening, you end up with this very rich set of data that will allow you to be able to do something which is really important. And from our perspective, actually, one of our killer use cases, which is we turn information and data into automation, because we're an automation company. And so working together, lots of people have made great investments in these areas or are thinking about it. And we're very comfortable in working with process mining partners to be able to deliver something that is rich. If you already have it, we can work with you already to gain more value from what you've already spent time and energy on. In fact, it's worth saying that we're also doing some of this work with some of the RPA vendors too, because RPA data is another source of information that could allow you to continually optimize, look for good opportunities to make decisions around testing. What should I be testing? Is it, I can test my RPA, but are there processes that are still manual? Are there gaps that need to be looked at? Are there areas of low-hanging fruit, whether it be cost, time, variance, that we could look at to make some comprehensive decisions that add real value to the conversation with the business. Now, one of the things that's on this slide, which we've not mentioned yet, but I think is really important, is and Badri touched upon this well, because in a digital commerce world, we see this happening a lot, which is a lot of the applications are SaaS-based, cloud-based in that area. And therefore, what we've tried to do here is to say each set or category of applications has their own needs. Some of it's because of security, data privacy, some of it's because of regulation, what it happens to be. But there is no one right answer now. You can't say all automation platforms should be in the cloud or they should be on premise. What we think is it's probably going to be hybrid over the next 5 to 10 years. Some are going to be completely cloud-based, and Eureka does a super job of delivering a digital native application for digital native applications. But if you're a Oracle EBS customer, or you've got ECC sitting in your data center, and your data is very proprietary, you probably want to be doing things in your own data center. And all in between. So what we're trying to get to here is what is right for you and your organization, what is right for you and your sets of applications, or this part of the process. We're trying to answer all of those questions. And we're going to learn along the way as to I'm sure over time things will move more and more to being cloud native. But for the time being, we think there's just an enormous need to have a good answer here, which is not constraining, but allows you to be able to answer the question from the business and be comfortable around security, compliance, and data, things like GDPR and all those sorts of things.
Okay, so I think we're rapidly running out of time, so let's just got one more question that's coming that we can hit now, Tony, and probably more so to Badri. So, is the Eureka toolkit available to Worksoft customers today?
Yes, it is available. So you will be, we are getting our Worksoft sales team and sales engineers ready with Eureka. And I think the best thing to do if you're a Worksoft customer is reach out to your Worksoft sales rep or customer success rep, and we can start a conversation on how best to get Eureka in your hands and working on your applications.
Yeah, and really good that the head of product he dodged the question there, which I thought was excellent. Fine work there from him. What he really means to say is we've got a roadmap that's being created right now, and in fact our sales engineering teams have been having a lot of fun about getting the two products working together right now, and they've done some things we didn't even know was possible already, and that's because the philosophy of the organizations is very similar. So actually, we see a lot of good things there. Like all integrations, what's important to do in the same way we for processes about understanding and getting deep understanding about what the future looks like. So we're going to communicate about the offerings standalone. We will increase during Q3 and Q4, so the second half of this year, you'll start to see the integrations get tighter and tighter as we go forward. Our goal is still to have one platform, right? One platform that has deep capabilities, and we're going to continue to work on that. So you continue to have that promise of one platform that can solve a significant amount of your automation questions and provide real value and answers to you. So lots of opportunity here, I think, in the next 12 to 18 months to really just to deliver something which at the end of the day we think is going to be compelling both for our customers, our partners, and most importantly is going to deliver great outcomes for them, that they can have this outstanding relationship. Our customers can have outstanding relationships with their customers because their application, their interface to them is working every time, that it's highly performant, that it works on every browser, that it works with the different types of commerce engines that are out there. But most importantly, if you put it all together, that we think about these things in the whole, like end to end is really important, and the entire process from the point that you buy something, that pair of shoes that Lawrence has just bought, and that he's going to send back, is very much something that we want to make sure that every part of the process is robust, it works, it's moving at the speed the business wants to move at, it's creating the right margin profile, it's creating the right cost profile, it's creating the right answer for the stakeholders and shareholders and employees and partners of those businesses. So just a lot to come, I think, in the next 6 months. Super exciting, and very, very pleased with how things have gone so far. The feedback from our customers and partners has been outstanding. We're very glad to share it with you today, and I think I'm looking forward to having this conversation. I think in 3 or 6 months' time and sharing the progress we've made. I think it will be. I think we're going to be surprised with ourselves if I see what the first 4 weeks or 5 weeks have been like. I think it's just a lot to go. Great, and then just to wrap up, I think we talked about how can we learn more. So look forward to a Better Together set of webinar beginning September, probably at the beginning of September, that we'll put in place, and then there'll be a set running through the rest of the year that will get into all the goodness that is bringing the two organizations together. We can, of course, get you together with either Eureka or Worksoft, sales teams and customer success teams. So we can definitely do that. And then we have these 2 events coming up right now, which I think are just a great place to be able to touch the software, if you will, talk to other customers, talk to partners, around the goodnesses, bringing these 2 great organizations together. One in Las Vegas in July, and another one at the end of the year in Vienna. So I think those 2 will be, we can really get down and get into us presenting what it is, but also sitting down around a cup of coffee and just showing the applications, about showing how powerful they can be to solve your automation goals. So I think with that, I think we've gone through most of the questions that we've seen here. Really appreciate your time, Lawrence. Thanks for being a great moderator. Badri, welcome to the team. That's good. He brings a great set of people with him from Eureka. So super pleased that they've been able to join.
Thank you, Tony. We are excited to join the Worksoft family, and we've had an opportunity to work with the Worksoft team, and it's a fabulous team, and I'm sure we'll do a lot of great things together and deliver significant value to our customers.
Excellent. Okay, well, look, thanks again, and thank you to everybody that joined this chat today. I look forward to speaking to you over the coming weeks and months. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have additional questions. And with that, we'll bring this to a close. So thanks again.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.